Okay, hey mamas, it's late here. It's been a really crazy week, really crazy week for me. I started my first week working my part-time job from home, and I did only just one day this last week, and so I had two in the office, one home, and the transition just was an interesting challenge, but I'm absolutely loving my new job, which, are y'all interested in what I'm doing? I'll tell you. So I am working for a holistic, let's see, it's a functional medicine office. If you hear my cat crying, I'm sorry. That's him crying. He's over there because my husband went up to bed and he misses him. So anyways, okay, so I'm working at a functional medicine office now, part-time, 3 days a week. And what I'm doing there is I'm in patient support. And so it feels a lot like what I do in coaching in many ways. I talk to people about their health journeys and see if our office is a good fit for them. So if they're hoping to come for care there, our doctor specializes in mold toxicity and Lyme disease, as well as other chronic inflammatory issues. And he does PANS, PANDAS, autism, all kinds of things that are that are inflammatory responses and toxic, like toxicity and such in the system. He's pretty incredible, pretty darn incredible. If you're curious about that, please private message me and I'll give you more information. So anyway, so I've been transitioning to that. So I'm sorry this video is being made late, believe it or not, at night. We had a great day. My daughter, it was her birthday today, and we went off and celebrated, and we had a wonderful day playing with her all day long, and it was great. And so the week just kind of slipped by me, but I still wanted to get out my Monday video. So here I am working on my Monday video. What I wanted to share tonight was two things. One, I'm going to share a little bit about how I've changed my THM journey as I've been in this perimenopausal phase. And, we've seen so many women, us admins have seen so many women going through the seasons of life and seeing how THM needs to be a little bit changed and tweaked, which I know Pearl's coming out with a book to address this. But in the meantime, I really kind of did some of my own research. And to be very, very honest, excuse me, I have been watching Pearl's meals on the Journey app to kind of get an idea of where she's going with some of her meals and kind of help myself on my own journey. I definitely did put on some weight again after walking with my parents through illness and having them both pass. And so I've been working on getting that off again. But of course, between cortisol, all that stress, that was a lot of stress, believe me, cortisol, perimenopausal hormonal changes, all of that, it's been really challenging and frustrating, to be honest. But I just keep plugging away because I do know for a fact that THM is how my life will always be. I love being on THM. I know that I'm nourishing my body well, and I honestly just had a doctor's appointment and my blood work came out great, except my blood sugar numbers are a little bit high, which didn't surprise me. I had gestational diabetes with my daughter, and so they always told me I'd have to be careful of that. So it's really important now that I push hard to get my body to lose the last of this weight so I can make sure that those numbers don't creep up any further. I'm not diabetic, they're a little bit higher than they should be. So anyways, so I'll always be a THM. I love THM, but I have been needing to definitely tweak and change how I incorporate the plan. So I wanted to share some of the things that I've been doing, and I am actually seeing improvement. So it's really exciting. I ended up getting what my doctor told me was a perimenopausal belly. So my tummy actually kind of curved out. I looked kind of like I was pregnant, and not a fan of that. But anyways, and so I saw, I don't know, quite a dramatic difference in my shape, and I was really thrilled with that. And I'm going to share with you some of the things I've been doing to get there. So I have some notes, so I'm sorry, I'm going to have to peek away a little bit just to make sure I stay on track. But one thing that I really had to learn is just because we can have it on THM doesn't mean we should. And by that, what I mean is we can have 45 grams of carbs, but does that mean we have to eat 45 grams of carbs? I will tell you that the food addict person in me says, yeah, I'm allowed to have it. I'm going to eat every last carb up until I've eaten all 45. And so, and I'm having to learn that well, can I be satisfied with a little less? If I take a portion, let's say, of Bam cake, and I can have this much Bam cake, what if I take off a third of that? Can I still be satisfied with 2/3 of a normal portion? My carbs are a little lower. And then, of course, those of you that are dealing with like, insulin resistance or other blood sugar issues, you're in a whole different category. Right now, I can still have 45 grams and I'm not seeing a big spike, but it is something I have to be watchful of. But I'm more talking about kind of driving towards getting some weight loss going again. And I found that I could cut off a third of a portion of my serving and I was still satisfied. And what I did though to round it out was I chose to have something like a half a frappa or a baby frap or something that was, I know I'm kind of bouncing around here, but I got a lot of ideas in my head. I know we don't count calories, but there's the phrase, we don't count calories, but calories do count, okay? And so we want to be mindful about what the caloric load is without counting calories, but just kind of being mindful of, in places where we can, how can we lighten up some of these meals? So one of the things I found was I can cut back a full serving of carbs, like the Bam cake, for instance, or muffins or things like that, where I was really trying to figure out how much of this can I have, because I wanted as much as I could have, to how much will I be satisfied with, and how can I round it out with something that's a little lighter on my system that I'll burn off a little easier. And that was actually really helpful. And so if I don't want to do a frappa or a shake, actually what I found is a chocolate milk, a little bit of chocolate milk. Doesn't have to be even a whole serving. It can be a half serving, something like that has a little protein added to it. I use collagen. I use the Creamy Dreamy protein powder. I love those as options that are non-dairy and nut-free. And so those are working really good for me. And so I actually take mason jars. This is something else I'm going to talk about, but I take a mason jar this size and I fill that with chocolate milk, and those are my go-to to round out something else while I cut it back slightly. So I'm just kind of reducing the portion a little bit and making it a little easier for my body to burn that off and really start burning through the adipose tissue, as well as I've noticed some of my inflammations come down. So that's one idea anyways, is watch that you don't have to have it all just because you can, okay? And actually that same rule does apply in a different sort of way to like protein. We kind of, like in an S, you really don't have to watch your protein per se, but can you be satisfied with a little less? Can you enjoy the same meal and not have, let's say you make meatballs and instead of having 8 meatballs, can you have 4 and round it out with more non-starchy veggies, okay? We're looking at ways of kind of backing things down a little bit as we are going through this season of hormonal upset and trying to still find satisfaction. But what I've noticed is if I reduce some of the things that are a little heavier, I'm having a better response with the goals that I'm trying to achieve, which I am trying to achieve more weight loss right now. So I've noticed for me, and now this is not for everybody, and I understand that, but I've noticed for me, I don't always need as much protein as I think that I need. And so I've been more mindful about, can I enjoy half that? And then I kind of eat my meal and enjoy half the amount that I normally might. And then if I'm still hungry, I'll still eat. But am I satisfied? Just kind of thinking more about satisfaction, which I remember when I started THM back in 2013, I was really mindful about satisfaction, but then I kind of became about the rules and thinking, well, I can have that, so I'm going to. Because unfortunately, as much work as I've done and as much healing as I've done, I still have a tendency towards some of my old ways of thinking about food, which is really through an addictive lens. So I'm trying to kind of revisit and regroup and get back to the way I started THM. All right. So, so those are a couple of the big ones. Is just because it's there, I don't have to eat it all. I will actually tell you a story. So today we went out to lunch with our daughter and I ordered, it would be a crossover, but it was a prime rib chili. And the bowl was really full and I was eating my chili and I realized at one point, I'm actually really satisfied and it wasn't all gone. Oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? You know what I would normally do? I'll eat it. You know why? Because it's there. And then I thought today, I'm actually really quite satisfied. I don't need the rest of this chili. I will be okay. And I didn't eat it. I kind of wanted somebody else to eat it because that thing in my head, I don't know about you guys, but that thing in my head says I paid for this. I need to eat this thing. But I don't need to eat this thing. You don't need to eat that. If we're satisfied, we can stop eating and just push it away and say, I'm done. And I need to learn to do that more. I need to revisit that lesson of eating till satisfied and stop eating because it's there and because I'm allowed technically to have it. So that's something I want to encourage you all in. I guess this is kind of a mini coaching session, isn't it? So I want to encourage you all. Just because it's there, you don't have to finish it. Just because you can have 45 grams of carbs doesn't mean you have to hit that. Just because you can have 4 ounces or 3 ounces or whatever amount of, protein, meat, whatever, doesn't mean you have to eat it all. There's other ways to satisfy, okay? And one of the things I really, really want to encourage too is getting in those non-starchy veggies. It is truly so important. And I will tell you, one of the things I've really been doing, and you guys probably have seen, but we are getting that, CSA now. So we're getting all this produce in every week. And so it's forcing us to eat even more than we're accustomed to, which has been a really good thing for us. So one of the things I'm doing is I'm making sure that I am really rounding out, especially lunch and dinner. I'm really rounding out my meals with a lot of non-starchy veggies and then adding in a smaller portion of protein. And then depending on the direction I want to go, a smaller portion of my carbs. It doesn't have to be my 45 gram limit. I'm trying a little smaller. And then for me, I always need something sweet. And so I'm trying to find fuel pull options of things that I can finish the meal off without it being another heavy thing that, like dark chocolate or Lily's chocolate. Those are wonderful. They're so easy. You grab, you eat. They're great, but they are dense. And so I've been doing things like the chocolate milk. That's one of my number ones. I actually will do skinny chocolate because of the metabolism boosting power of amazing coconut oil. But I won't have a whole piece. I'll just have a little bite. And usually that's enough. Or a cup of tea, a Zevia, a Good Girl Moonshine, something in that realm. But I'm trying to lighten that up. And speaking of, after dinner, I try to have my dessert pretty close after, and I try to close up the kitchen by probably 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, maybe at the latest. I'm really trying hard to not be eating late into the evening and getting to bed at a reasonable time. Oh my gosh, that's a hard one for me. It's super hard. I don't know about you guys, but I'm a night owl. But with the new job, I have to be up early. And not that I wasn't up early before, but I have to be up early and actually awake and like present and available to think and do things. So it does require earlier sleep, but getting to bed at a normal time, waking up at a reasonable time, and being on a pretty consistent schedule is super helpful towards weight loss goals. Okay. So I'll just say that. So watching our portions a bit, dialing them back, finding some lighter options, getting adequate veggies in at all the meals, getting adequate sleep. And then here's another one, lots of fluids, lots and lots of fluids. And my goal daily is to shoot for about half my body weight, which I'm kind of guessing, but about half my body weight in ounces per day in fluids. Now, I have a 40-ounce jug, and I think I've spoken about this a few times. I've even showed it to you guys. It's right here, hold on. This is it. So I have this 40-ounce jug, and every morning I get up and I make a Good Girl Moonshine of some variety in here. You guys have seen it in videos where I'm just in there glug-glugging the ACV right into this guy. So I make this every day. I drink through this every day before lunch usually. I also usually have a cup of tea. I drink a full glass of water with all my supplements. And then if I'm going into the office, I take a giant other mug sort of like this, but it's meant for hot liquids. And I think it's 32 ounces, and I make that with some kind of tea. Lately, I've been doing the shrinker in it so that I have something that's kind of helping me boost my metabolism a little bit. So getting in lots and lots of fluids is really another very good, key, important point of trying to drive the body towards releasing some of the extra tissue that we're wanting to lose, okay? So that's another really key part. And then honestly, moderate movement. And that's been harder for me to get in structured with the job, but I'm working very hard to do that. And with my clients, I will tell you this, if you're coming from a place where you're not exercising at all, what I do with my clients is I usually do a challenge of 1 or 2 days a week. We talk, what do you think you can do? 1 or 2? Okay, we'll usually sometimes shoot anywhere in there. And then I link videos to them that they can choose from that are really short. I mean, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 7 minutes, just start somewhere, a little something to just get that body moving a little bit. Doesn't have to be super strenuous or hard. Keep it quick and light and easy, but start developing that pattern of exercise. Now, I've exercised myself for over 20 years. I struggle with anxiety, and exercise has been my number 1 for controlling anxiety. And then number 2 is food. That's how I do it. I don't take medication for it. I control it all through exercise and food and lots of help and prayer and good friends and all those other things. But really, truly, those 2 things help me so much. So I try to incorporate that into my clients' routine. So if you're not moving at all, do passive movement. One of the things I'll tell people, okay, they just don't have time. They cannot carve out a single minute from their day. All right, great. If you're going to go to the grocery store, drop the kids off here or there, park a half a block away so that you have to walk and you're forced to walk back to your car. I mean, there's ways to get incidental and exercise just through making a decision that you're going to park further out. Okay. All right. So those are my kind of tips that I wanted to go over tonight and just discuss with you guys about ways that I'm seeing weight loss happen again. And I hope they're helpful to you. And I'll kind of give a little recap here. Let me look at my notes again. So portions, we don't have to eat it just because we can. In e-meals with our proteins, anything like that. And if you need to fill it out in your volume eater, lots and lots of greens, okay? Lots and lots of non-starchy veggies. Just build those babies in. And keep watching my Facebook page, my business Facebook page, because as we're working through our CSA, I'm getting real creative with some recipes. So I'm sharing a lot of non-starchy veggie recipes that I'm finding there and meals that I'm enjoying. So please watch over there and ask questions because I'm happy to share. So portions, just dial them back a little bit. Fill in with sippers and chocolate milk, strawberry milk, other things, half portions of smoothies or quarter portions of smoothies. If you're doing a big smoothie, have a fourth of that. You don't have to have the whole giant thing, but they will round out your meal and make you feel satisfied with less actual portions of food. Now, of course, we don't want you starving. Remember that. Don't want you starving. Also dialing back that protein a little bit if you can. If you really need it, then have it. But just watch other places that you can cut back. Lighten up. Limiting those heavy S foods. I think I forgot to mention that actually. Limiting the heavy S foods. That is a huge key component. The nuts, the seeds, the dark chocolate, the cheese, avocado. Enjoy those, but with discretion, okay? So like if I'm having something where I want those nuts on it, I just have like 4 or 5 nuts that I crumble up and I enjoy it. Like I've been doing the jiggle gurt with berries, and then I just put 4 or 5 little pieces of nuts that I break up and put it on top. I don't need, an 1/8 of a cup. That's too calorie dense. Let's cut that back a little bit. And I don't do it every day, okay? I keep that to the minimum. Rounding out the meals with all those veggies, getting adequate sleep, drinking lots and lots of fluids, you guys. Make sure you're getting those in, and looking for incidental or very purposeful movement. Not heavy duty, just a little something to get your body moving. All right, so I think those are all of my tips for tonight. I know a lot of us are in the same phase of struggling to try to see some of this weight come off again that we may have started seeing creep back up because of these changes our bodies are going through. We can't burn off the things that we used to when we did this plan. Well, gosh, what, 7, 8, 9? God, I guess I'm at 9 years. It's awesome. I will always be a THM, but now I got to just change it up a little bit. So anyway, I hope some of these tips helped you guys. There are things that I've been using with my clients. We're seeing some improvement in many of them, but I know for sure I'm seeing improvement in my own journey. So I just wanted to share those with you. And Anyway, I hope that they help you. Let me know in the comments if you have other great ideas. I certainly don't own all the ideas. And as always, it's great to chat with you guys. Thanks so much for following. Don't forget to subscribe and, give me a like. All right, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.